everybody, my name is Cheri. Welcome to my stamp studio. So today, it's always one of my favorite things that I do is show you what's going to be up next in Card Club, because I love my Card Club members and I know they're always excited to see what it is, and it's always double fun when it's Card Club during celebration, because that means they're going to get the chance to pick a free item during the 2 months. It's now 4 months of celebration Card Club, because now we have a summer celebration as well. So before we get going on that, I do want to tell you that this video is up and it is the same things that we'll be using in Card Club, but this particular video is the first project of my Try It class for the July to December holiday catalog, and I will be closing registration probably on Wednesday. It may make it till Thursday, but probably Wednesday, Thursday of this week. It's just about full. I haven't counted it all. Over the weekend was the last day the girls on my team could let me know if they wanted a packet. So now I have their numbers in, and then I reserve a few for if there's any mailing issues. And Card Club had a giant mailing issue. It was not so much that there was a problem with the mail. It was that I dropped them off at the post office last Friday, and by the time I got home from the post office, which is very, very close to my house, they already showed delivered, because the people at the post office, instead of scanning the little tracking to say that they had been picked up, dropped off at a post office, they had put them that they had been delivered to the post office. So everybody in Card Club, it was the fastest delivery service ever. So I have been dealing with that all weekend. I had to go back up to the post office on Saturday, and I keep manually checking. I have the ability to see the tracking, but nobody else does. So, it's no longer where the postal service is the most reliable thing in the world. So I always create a couple of extras for that. And then if you join my team in July or August, when there is the celebration sign-up special, which is a super cool planner, and I will show you the planner next week during my catalog kickoff, you also get a free packet that way too. So I do some extras, so I count those into my numbers. So I'm going to close it because it's almost full now. I know I haven't added them all up, but I know I'm almost to that point. And the reason it fills is because my husband and I have hired my niece. We talked about it this morning, so I've hired her. She's going to do the die cutting this time. But there's physically only so many packets we can lay out to make packets, and those all have to be done in one evening. And it takes every table, every counter space, the oven, all of it. We use all of it in my house. So that is about full. So there's that. And then this is the card I'm going to do now is the first project. When I do these big classes like for Try It and for Card Club, you can always see one of the projects, and then to see the rest, you have to be in it. So that was the preview for that. And then we're going to do the preview project, which will be there first for Card Club for July. So for July Card Club, it's going to be out of both the July to December and the celebration catalog. Sounds like something's falling over in my backyard. It must be a neighbor, because nobody's in my backyard. So if you need one of these and you don't have a demonstrator that has sent you one yet, let me know and I'd be happy to send one out. If you are my customer, you should have gotten tracking, or it's coming with your club. So those, you all should have one. And if you don't have one, somehow you slip through the cracks, and let me know. But if nobody's sending you one, let me know that, and I'd be happy to send you one if you're in the US. So we are going to be using stuff from both. So the way my Card Club works, it's a subscription service. You can sign up, and then you can pause or cancel anytime you want. So PayPal just handles the subscription part for me, so I don't have to deal with that. You sign up with PayPal. You do not have to have a PayPal account. You do not have to have a die cutting machine. You have to have really minimal supplies. You can purchase the add-on stamp set every month if you want, and I'll show you what it is for this month. And then every month we make 6 projects together, and you'll end up with tons of extra stuff. So this month they get a full spool of the new seam binding ribbon that is soft sea foam. They get a full packet of these, aren't those beautiful, of the adhesive back sequins and gems. Such original names. Now, I used to always be able to remember them, and we have a lot of the things that the names all sound this very similar. And then they get a half a package, and when we do 12 by 12, it's cut this way. I haven't cut a package yet of the Splendid Day paper. It's the one that I just used on the other thing. That's why it's cut like this. So if you're in Try It class, you will get it in that as well. It's a beautiful paper. So you'll get a half a packet of it cut 6 by 12. But I didn't want to cut this. And then you're going to get, we always do 6 projects. You get 6 envelopes. But this time, all of our projects we are going to use, look how pretty this is, and it matches. So see that you have this, and then look at the envelopes. That's why because these envelopes match the paper. Look at this piece of paper here. Look at the envelopes. So super pretty. These are one of the free choices that you can make from Celebration. So you'll get 6 of these if you're in Card Club, but you can also choose them for your Celebration choice as a free item during July and August. If you spend $50, you get 40 of them. But all 6 of our projects will use these as the cards and envelopes because I wanted you to have 6 of the envelopes, and we will use those. So you're going to use one on this one. And then for the optional add-on, if you add on the bundle, then you get to pick a free Celebration choice. So here's the Splendid Thoughts stamp set. If you don't have a die cut machine and you just add on this, then I will have in your email, it will tell you how you also can add on a Celebration choice. If you add on the bundle, then you just add on a selection, a $50 selection of your choice when you do that. And then when you add on the stamps or the stamps and the dies any month and you're part of my card club, there's lots of perks, but one of them is I pick up the shipping and handling and tax. So they just pay catalog cost. And these dies are super fun. Anything that needs to be die cut when you're in club, it comes already die cut to you. So there are pieces, and you'll see it in just a second when I show it to you. So I am going to use these 2. If you don't have the die cuts, and you just order the stamps, you can just fussy cut those. Then if you don't have the stamps, but you feel like you have something that's very similar because you already have some flowers and a bee, which is I know that we do flowers and bees, then you don't have to get them at all. You can just use what you have. So when Card Club comes to you, you always get a little snack. You get all of your supplies. You get the paper. Move this out of the way. So you would get 2 of these, and usually the envelopes are all separate. This time they'll be separate, but this time we're going to use this for our card. And then here's your little die cuts. So I've die cut these out of the pearlescent paper, and then here's a little die cut out of Pool Party. Here's a piece of soft sea foam, and then here's the envelope that matches. So we'll just move that out of the way, and then we're going to work with this. And then you have your half pack of designer series paper that you'll work with. And like I said, I haven't cut mine down. So I have still giant 12 by 12 sheets here. I should have cut one a little bit. So you're gonna take your paper. So this is a little less than 4. It's about 3 3/4. Doesn't have to be perfect, but where's my card? Did I cover it up? These cards are standard card size, but this has the print around it, so I didn't want to just have this tiny little border and then you were going to lose it. So 4 by 5 1/4, what would be a standard layer on top, I wanted it smaller. So I just put this in here, and 4 would be over here. So it's that much less than 4, and so we get to see that much more around the edges. So you can measure it perfectly if you want. Mine is not measured perfectly. I just knew I put it to the 4. And then when I originally did this one, I put it over. And then I did the same thing. 5 1/4 would be here, but I want it to be, I always put this in so you guys can't see the 5. So let's move this up here. So here's 5 1/4, but I don't want it to be, let's do about 5. Maybe even a little less than 5, because I want, like I said, I want to see this. And if you do the whole thing, then there's no point of using this piece of pre-printed card because you're not going to see it. And then you have this, and you'll save it for later, because one of the things we do in Card Club is, we just did it recently, is we Zoom together, and then we take all of the things from the past 3 months and we mix them all up. So you can use a lot of those things differently. Well, I do it and then they watch. So now we have this, and again, I am not going to measure. I want to have one piece that's bigger. So I'm going to start with that, and they're not going to get put in like that, but I want one piece of this fresh freesia foil that's larger. So I'm going to put it here. So there's a larger piece because this whole thing is the size that we need. So in Card Club, I do a lot of teaching because my goal with Card Club is that everybody learns something after every Card Club. Here's a smaller one. And I don't want it to be the same, which sometimes you have a size, I guess, and then there's another one. So we have 4 pieces. Because the other side of that paper also matches the stamp that we're going to use. I'll show it on the bigger. So we're going to use this stamp out of the set, and it matches. So I want to be able to take advantage of that piece of paper as well. So we have this piece of seafoam that you'll get. I'm going to use seafoam ink. And with Card Club, they can substitute, or you can if you're in it. You could use any of the lighter greens. You can look at the colors in the paper in your catalog and see what colors I will be concentrating on, because if they're in the paper, that's one we might use. And this one we might use white as well. This is the only project I've made. So this large one can go in here. And then this one has it's a weird set. It has this. And so I thought, well, this is a fill-in set, right? It just fills those leaves in. And then when I put it on, I'm like, well, gosh, it's not photopolymer. So how am I going to see? And then when you go to line it up, you're like, well, it doesn't match. So it just kind of does an off thing to it. And because we're going to cut this one out, it doesn't even matter that it does off. And you'll see what I mean in just a second. So for all of you, if you are really particular about where your stuff goes, you might skip this step and just color it in with, but see, it's got the 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So just kind of line them up. They're not going to be perfect. They're not designed to be perfect. If you are stamping them and not cutting this out, then it kind of just gives it an artistic flair. You could do it again. I'll do it again because I'm going to cut mine out. But you can see how it just kind of, when you have, I know sometimes you're like, that's not perfect. I did not stamp that perfect. I want you to look at your curtains, at your sheets, at the $50 dress that you bought, at the $100 skirt that you bought to wear to a wedding, and look at the number of times that things are colored, and then on the print, they kind of mushed it. And they're not perfect, but you don't look at the things that you spent a lot of money on and think they didn't line that up perfectly, because it's an art thing. So that's what this is. It does not line up perfectly. And if you need it to line up perfectly, you're going to be in trouble. So if you want your leaves to be colored in perfectly, all you do is you take this, and then you color them in, and then they'll be colored in perfectly. So with this set, you have the option. And I can't show you the inside of the catalog yet because it hasn't started. And as demonstrators, we can't show you the inside until after the catalog's live. But if you look at the samples, then you'll see some of the other uses, and we'll use them like that in Card Club of ways that you can use it. One is that you can just use it. Well, I didn't get any scrap paper, but you can use them just for fun. So this is a really cute little die. And again, in the catalog, you can see how they've pieced it together as circles. You can use it as whole backgrounds, which we won't in Card Club because I'm not running that many dies through anybody or my niece who I've hired. But here's some of the fill-in eucalyptus leaves for the other one, which again don't match, but we're just going to use them to color our little circle here. This is going to get covered up, so don't worry about the fact that I'm now stamping all over my card. But now we have added just a little bit of texture to what we're gonna use this as a pot. So now we've got that. And then there's some really good words in this. I'm gonna put let's celebrate. I have some weddings coming up, some showers coming up. So this will be a really good wedding card. Again, not photopolymer. So it's a really good chance to whip out your Stamparatus if you have it. But this one has a straight edge to the bottom. So we've got the let's celebrate on our pot. And then one more little stamp. I have this giant piece here. This is the one I should have cut down. This is super, super pretty. And I will tell you, it pained me to do this because I flipped it over. And then the first one I did, I stamped very poorly. on a beautiful piece of cardstock. But I like this kind of canvasy thing here, and I wanted to use the bee, but I didn't want to really introduce another color to my card. So we'll just stamp in there. Now, if you are in Card Club and you've bought the dies, you can take this and those leaves we just stamped and run them through with your 2 dies. If you don't have the dies, then you just fussy cut them. All right, so we have these pieces that we kind of messed with here. So I'm going to take my adhesive and I'm going to make sure that all of the sides have some adhesive. We're going to start with this one, the biggest one, and I want it to kind of be in the middle. And remember, this isn't 4 inches, so we're going to have spare excess on either side. So now we want, let's do this one as the next fattest, so that will give us the most of this. So just butt this right along up next to that. And then this is the skinniest. So let's see how we want to do this. And now we have this piece, and the way I've done it, it's not going to quite fit, but we have our paper trimmer, right? So my other one has 4 squares because I wasn't filming, and so it's sometimes easier when you're not filming. You don't want it to be in half. Again, you want them to be various sizes. Let's just take this, and then we will put this on here. They both have to be foil because we're going to do foil, plain, foil, plain. And this gives us, so we get to see the beautiful foil, but then we get to see that the other side of the paper and all of our adhesive is covered up. And when you see my other one in just a second, you'll see that it doesn't matter that it didn't quite do the same thing. So now we're going to take, and I'm going to put a little bit of adhesive right here because we're going to start mounting our stuff in our vase. So this is our biggest piece. So I'm going to stick it right here. And that's going to kind of, because we want it to be centered, right? We want that to be in the center. Then you have your ribbon. So we're going to do a couple of fun things with our ribbon. I want a little bit more adhesive right here. You could use steel plush. You could use glue for this. I'm going to take a piece of my ribbon about this long. These are my scissors. I intentionally got another pair out and I meant to move those out of the way. Those need to be sharpened bad. So with this piece of ribbon, I'm going to take and I'm going to cut this one end or one side, I guess, off. To be careful because it can make a big mess. So I have this, and I'm just going to do a little bit at a time. Because see, you get this fun. And just make sure that parts of the end of it lay in your adhesive. And this is going to kind of give us that succulent. We know I have some lady slippers right now that are blooming, and they just have those little, I don't know what they're called. I like to have plants. I try not to kill them, but I don't really know what they're all the parts of them are called. I know more about my outside gardening than my house plants. And I tend to, I think I would probably kill the outside things too, except that, you know, we live in the Midwest and eventually they die on their own. So I don't even need all of that. You can also use this piece here if you want to line that up in there, but we don't need to. Then I'm going to take a piece, I don't want it to be terribly long, about that long. And then on this one, I'm going to cut it right down the middle because I tried a full size of this ribbon. It's a beautiful ribbon and it's a really pretty color, but it was just a little bit too fat with the delicate part of this vase. You have to be careful when you add a little bit more adhesive here because they can just pick all that stuff we just laid on. And we're going to do what I often do. I do this a lot on my cards. You're just going to make the little twist and then just stick it in here. But if you do the fat, it just covers everything up. The fat ribbon is just a little bit too big for the scale of these flowers. the other day, if you saw the one I did with the cottage rose, you can do the full-size ribbon on that, and you could color them in with the softer colors. The other day I used olive, but if you want to do softer colors, this would be a perfect ribbon for that. Now, when you in card club, sometimes your stuff comes and we don't punch it out. If it falls out, then you get it like that, but you may have to punch some of your dies out. Add these. This right here, it looks like my wedding invitation on that pearlescent paper, and those calla lilies, that's just taking you back to 1991 right there. That's the color and that's the flower. If you got married in the early 90s, late 80s, maybe you too use some calla lilies with some pearlized paper. So we have all this. Now on my other one, I did not use dimensionals, but you know, this is what you can do when if you ever make 2 cards in a row. Of course, I don't have any laying here because I didn't use them. But this time I'm going to use some dimensionals, and I'm going to pop my base up. Just put them right here. That has a little bit more oomph to it than my other one. My other one, I didn't know how I was gonna put all the stuff in, and I had already stuck that down. Now we have the little bee, and I'm just gonna add this on. There. And then I'm gonna take my Stella, because this has a lot going on and it's very glittery. So I'm just gonna add a little bit of Stella to my bee, and then just brush a little, and it makes it look darker because it's making this pool party here wet. And the reason I used pool party, it's not in the paper, but it's in the rhinestones that you're getting as part of club. So sometimes the embellishments I choose aren't the ones that go with the suite or with the cardstock or the paper. So we just make it work by using other paper, because these are beautiful. And then the other thing, I've never, ever, ever done this in club before. So the embellishments that are part of this, I love them, but I just didn't want to use them on every card. I feel the need to use something like this on every card. But because I really wanted you to have one, we're going to put one on this card. And part of the reason I don't do this is because I hate having to divide the things all up. But we're going to do it. You'll have to make sure if you're in club that you go through your packet, because you're all going to get one of the open leaf trinkets, which are part of this suite, because this just really makes it even more beautiful. Now, you're going to put yours on with a glue dot or with some liquid glue or your fine tip glue. But for the sake of video time, I'm just going to stick mine in like this. And that's the other reason I wanted to use dimensionals on this. Mine was a complete afterthought because, like I said, never done this before. You guys are super lucky this month. You're getting that little extra trinket. And then we're going to take these. Now on my other one, because I didn't know what I was doing, the bottom down here was kind of messy. It's not as messy on this one, but I kind of ended up liking it. It makes it kind of look like some rocks. Because I just bought at Costco one of these little like succulent planters. So I'm going to put 2 here. These actually are the embellishments that go with one of our new snowflake sets. So when you see them, you can see that it's kind of a wintry snowflake look, but we're not using them for that. But these are pool party, so that's why I used pool party here to kind of pull that in. Just one of these little freesia. There's enough purple going on. This kind of just is a little purple highlight. Super cute. And then don't forget, you have this fun matching envelope that matches now this, because we made our little vase match. So here it is with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So if you mess up your card, you can't mess it up now, because I have 1, 2, 3, 4. See, mine's a little bit different. Everything is a little bit lower. So you had to do this because this was kind of a hot mess. Just cover it up, make it beautiful. Nobody's ever going to see it's a hot mess because it's covered up with beautiful jewels. So if you're interested in my card club, I will say it's getting very close to being full and then having to be a wait list. We're probably 2 months away from it being full. But again, there's only so much space that I have to create packets in my house. Otherwise we're gonna have to move so I can make more stuff at my house, because I have a small studio, so we do all of that stuff down in the living area of our home, which I have never thought was so small until my classes have gotten so much larger, and it takes everything, and we have to do it in one evening because doing it in 2 evenings would not be what I want to, how I want to spend my evenings. So it is getting full. If you're interested in joining, I would claim your spot now. And if you pause or cancel, then that is losing a spot and then being added to the wait list on the month when it finally does fill, which could happen around Christmas, because at Christmas everything always, because the Christmas ones will be fun. So if you have any questions about it, just let me know and I'll catch you back here later. Bye.